All right, good afternoon to you. 5 minutes past 2. It's towards an inclusive governance in Nigeria. Series 2 on political arena. The beautiful 7th of September 2021. Still a lovely Tuesday afternoon. Now, we will be looking at a call for the passage of the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill. I am Kimberly Ubiebo, and our guest on the program today, Barrister Ebere Ifendu, President, Women in Politics Forum. And later on, we'll have Olabukunola Williams, who is a member, GEOBILL Technical Working Committee. Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society of West Africa. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Barrister Ebere. How's the day going for you?
It's a beautiful day.
That's good to hear. All right, please stay on the line. Now, in the Nigerian Senate, women occupy only 8 of the 109 seats and only 11 of the 360 seats in the House of Representatives. The Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill was first introduced in the 8th Senate in March 2016 by Senator Biodun Olujimi, and it seeks to guarantee the rights of women to equal opportunities in employment, equal rights to inheritance for both male and female children, and also to guarantee appropriate measures against gender discrimination in political and public life, and prohibits violence against women. So the bill was rejected by some lawmakers, but reintroduced by Senator Abiodun Olujimi in 2019. The bill is still being deliberated on. The phone lines are 07000-917-917. It will be open in a bit, but in the meantime, you can send your comments via our social media handle at WFM917, and you can be a part of the conversation by sending your text or WhatsApp message to 0703-1756537. Now, Ebere, do you think the underrepresentation of women and delay of the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill is a deliberate act fueled on patriarchy?
Yeah, it's very clear that it's an effect of patriarchy in the society. It's so glaring that our culture, our tradition, our religious beliefs, all are engulfed with patriarchy. You'll notice that if you look at culture, there's really no place for women. It's just about men. And this also, laid the foundation of not having enough women in governance. This is because they are not supposed to be seen. They are not supposed to be heard. They are supposed to stay behind. And, a sad situation is that even a very strong woman is expected to even queue behind her son. We had a session last time in my community. And somebody told me, a younger relation of mine, and he said to me, he said, Ebere, you have done exceedingly well. You are somebody to reckon with and everything. But, sadly, in the community, I come before you. And I said, it's no more that situation. And I said, I'm not waiting for any law for me to assert my position in the community. But this is just me talking about it. Maybe because I'm exposed, maybe because I'm working with gender issues and I understand my place, or maybe because I'm a lawyer and I'm aware that any culture that is repugnant to social justice, that the Constitution is frowning against it, law is also frowning against it, But for some women, 80% of them who do not have this knowledge, they will quietly keep quiet and queue behind that person. They have more capacity than, they are older, in every sphere of life they are leading. But no, the culture says they have to queue behind a man. So this is sadly our situation, and this is telling on us when it gets to governance. But you see one thing people don't understand, and especially our society and our country, Nigeria, we are having issues. We are having issues of good leadership. We are having issues of corruption. We are having issues of bad healthcare service. And we are having issues of limited education. And the major problem of all this is not having women in governance. And so, yes, patriarchy is a huge problem. The society is paying for it. Governance is paying for it. both men and women are actually paying for it.
Okay. All right. Now, let's talk about CSOs now. Can CSOs influence the implementation of policies and bills, like ensuring the passage of the Gender Equal Opportunities Bill?
The CSOs honestly have been championing this cause and also championing every other bill, positive bill that we have already passed, like the VAT bill. Was basically the CSOs that in charge. And the CSOs are working with Senator Olujimi and her team. If I recall, just a few months ago, should be on sometime in June, maybe 10th or 11th, I'm not too sure of the dates anymore, but sometime in June, there was a CSO delegation to the Senate President, where Senator Olujimi represented the amended GEOBIll. And there was a passionate appeal also asking the Senate President to, sign in as a co-sponsor of the bill. So yes, you cannot, make a huge difference in societal issue without the CSOs working together. And I tell you, for this bill and most other bills like the VAT bill I mentioned, like also the additional seats for women, like the affirmative action bill for appointed positions, it's actually the work of the CSOs. And so CSOs are living up to, their responsibilities. They are advocating, they are reaching out, they are using the press. Like what we are doing is a product of CSO,
Okay.
So, yes, you see, yes, they are doing well, they are doing what they should do. And the problem we are having now is, do we have a listening Senate? Do we have a listening House of Representatives? Are they actually following, what the public, the mindset of the public? What do your citizens want? How do you, go about it? So if the CSOs are working hard and the people in authority are not listening and are not doing what they should do, and if you look at if the CSOs are not making any effort, we are doing so well, we are living up to our responsibilities, and hopefully we'll continue to put, pressure on leadership to listen to us and do the right thing for their own good and for the good of their children.
All right. Now, about approach now. Are there other approaches that the CSOs and women interest groups can adopt to ensure that their women get maximum representation in government?
Yes, we are doing everything possible. We have followed the legal system. Presently, there's an ongoing process where we have challenged the government on the Constitution of Nigeria. You can't wake up and tell us in the Constitution that there is equality. In reality, there is no implementation of that equality. So we have taken every step possible, taking the legal angle. We have taken the societal, means of giving information to the public. We had a radio program as Women in Politics Forum, as to review the Constitution, like the Constitution we want. A program like this one that we are having is, an advocacy program also for the public to listen and to understand why women should be in governance.
Okay.
I think that having followed all this, there is something left that we have not touched on, and that is civil disobedience. We need to get to the point where women will come out and decide that no, nothing will move again until they are involved. At that point, yes, I think they will listen to us. When I look back at events of the past, events of 1929, where women without GSM, without anything, no telephone, no nothing, could mobilize themselves and stand against an oppressive governance, and it yielded a huge result. I think what is left now is civil disobedience, and we have to take it to that point before they will understand our situation and know that, yes, there's nothing more we have not done. Every peaceful means we have used advocacy, we have used the legal system, we have done everything that we should do. I think the right thing for us now is occupy. Occupy. And that's what we have to be working towards. I'm saying this now because people are listening to us. I mean, when you push a people to a certain point, they will have no other place to go to because they can't move forward, they can't go back. They will have to turn to an obstacle. So you also cannot go forward, you can't move back. So that is the point we are in. Yes, I'm advocating for civil disobedience where we protest And when I say protest, it's not a one-off thing that we'll just go and say, we are not happy with it. It's a process that we are going to occupy the National Assembly. If they are inside that National Assembly, there won't be any way for them to try it out. As long as we remain there, for the number of days we are going to be there, they may have to get a helicopter to take them out of the National Assembly until we take that decision. We are Nigerian women. The ones in Abuja will take over National Assembly. The ones in the states will take over their state assembly. Nigerian men will not understand that at this point we are not going anywhere until we get our legitimate demands.
All right, it's towards an inclusive governance on political arena. It's 15 minutes past 2, and our guest on the program this afternoon is Barrister Ebere Ifendu, President's Women in Politics Forum. Later on, we'll have Olabukunola Williams, a member GEOBILL Technical Working Committee. Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa. I am Kimberly Upiebo. Now, Ebere, what do you think about engaging men on the need to pass the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill into law, and also how it benefits everyone?
Yeah, we've been engaging men because at times when people ask us questions, they think that we have just been talking to ourselves. In the past, yes, we made that error of talking to ourselves. But this time, we have extended, our advocacy to the men. I just gave you an example of going to the Senate President and appealing to him, to be a co-sponsor of the bill. We have amended the bill. We have watered it so down that, for everyone to understand. We have made that appeal to him. We are, working with all the men that are accessible to us, that National Assembly members that are accessible to us. But, surprisingly, as much as we go to them and we get this beautiful reception of, indeed, women are not anywhere in governance, it's our responsibility to ensure that things are, will change for Nigerian women. We have not seen any one of them take any drastic position on that. And so when we say that we have, what we are doing, we are reaching out to men because an open thing. We are no longer calling meetings where we will sit down in an enclosed place to talk about our issues. We have extended to using the media. We have extended to have individual contacts with men. We have been reaching out to the traditional rulers, to the religious leaders. We have been doing that. And the major problem is that people do not seem to understand the benefits of having the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill. I give you some examples. If we have gender and equal opportunities, there will no longer be discrimination of any sort, no discrimination. Like in the Southeast, here we have issues like OSU system, the caste system. It will no longer be there because there will be a law that will punish whoever will turn a human being to a second-class citizen for reasons not known to the person. There will be governance. There will be women in governance. It's going to be for both men and women. We have our potentials that we are going to bring in. We are coming from different angles. There will be employment, there will be education. Like we have now that they tell us that, you're not from the catchment area. GEOBIll will cure some of these things. In the private sector, nobody will say that a woman is not qualified. What you will be saying is your capacity will lead you to merit to make a difference. But there has to be gender and equal opportunity today. There is a huge human rights abuse that we speak in Nigeria today. And who are the people that are victims? Women and their children. But when we have GEOBIll passed, everyone will be happy. So people don't understand that the GEOBIll is going to, support both men and women. And I keep saying it that we're talking about affirmative action and the men are laughing at us. And I see a situation where we will struggle to get into governance. And then the men themselves will be the ones clamoring for affirmative action. Because once we say this at this particular time, it's looking as if it's just about women. But they forget that in future. Look, even in some professions, like not already crying, like in nursing professions, teaching professions, women are leading. You understand what I'm saying? Men now want to, become nurses and teachers. And if we have to use a discriminatory form of employment or whatever like they do in other areas, then the men will not be able to join. So you see, we are ready to work with men. We are protecting our children. We are protecting our sons. We are protecting our husbands. It's about men and women. That's why it's called Gender and Equal Opportunity Bill. daily life, everything will be all encompassing, and everyone will benefit from it.
All right, I guess you've answered the next question, because I was going to ask you the benefits that come with having adequate representation of women in parliament. Would you like to add to that?
Yes, it's something that, I always answer with the Rwandan experience. I see people all over the world, even Americans, go to Rwanda for conferences. AU, they're running to Rwanda for conferences. When you talk about tourism, the best spot you will hear is go to Rwanda. Why is that happening? It's happening because in governance, women occupy, especially at the national level, the parliament. Over 68% of women are in government. Do you know what that means? They have beautiful health systems. They have their education. I read somewhere that private schools closed down because government schools got to a point where you will not have any need to go and pay extra money to attend a private school. All the private schools in Rwanda closed down. It can happen in Nigeria. Give women an opportunity. Because look, we are closer to the community. We are closer to the children. We have natural empathy. And we understand that, look, healthcare is important. We understand that education is the basic thing. We understand that people should have small-scale industries, small-scale businesses they are doing. We know that there has to be economic empowerment. Men do not have the kind of empathy that we have as men. It's not like something we planned out. It's God, our God-given blessing, that, look, women are mothers. At every point, we are nurturing. There is almost zero crime rate in Rwanda. This is a country that came out of a big genocide. A country that the whole world, didn't believe that could come out and come up the way they did. And look at how they are able to get to that level. It's because women are in charge. So when women are there, and you have, some men who are gender sensitive, who are ready to relinquish power, who are ready to give women every opportunity, to do what they know how to do best, everything will be in order. For me, I think that if all women occupy governance in Nigeria, we are going to, do better than Rwanda. We have the human capital. We have the resources. All we need is to harness all these things and give our people good governance. And it's only where women are involved that this can happen. Otherwise, we'll continue to stroll the way we are strolling, and this is not good. Look at the security level in Nigeria today. When they talk about peace and conflict resolution, you will see committees set up with whether one or no woman at all. What do they know they are going there to talk about? Women are natural mediators. Women are natural peacemakers. Women can talk to our children, and they will listen to us because there's that bond between children and their mothers. Nobody can take it away. But in a country where men feel that every position is theirs, women should not come on board. Whatever we are experiencing in Nigeria today is still what they are going to continue to experience until the right thing is done and women are given their proper place in the society.
All right. Now, Ebere, the policy frameworks that they're set in place to ensure gender parity in political participation. Now, how do we ensure that these frameworks are duly implemented and observed?
Yeah, it's a major problem with us in Nigeria is that we come up with different laws. I mean, we will go to international seminars, international, like the UN and the rest. In fact, I use CEDAW as an example. When CEDAW came on board, Nigeria was about the first set of countries that, signed into it, and they are not ready to implement it. It's the same problem we are having with all the political parties in Nigeria today. None, and I say none, with every sense of responsibility, is showing any sign of internal party democracy. All the political parties, 18 of them registered, they are in one crisis or the other. And the major problem is not respecting their legal documents. They are not respecting their constitution. They have set up the constitution as an organization, a political party. And if you look at all the political parties, you will see in their constitution a clause that talks about gender equality. Some of them were brave enough to even put minimum of 35% affirmative action. But the truth is that they are not following up to that. I had a discussion once at one of our visits to the INEC chairman. I said, INEC chair, you have the mandate to manage political parties And based on that mandate, you were able to be registered almost about 80 political parties based on not fulfilling one or two criteria. And then they have all submitted their constitution to INEC. It wouldn't be difficult for INEC to look at their constitution and begin to enforce political parties, ensure that they implement whatever they have in their constitution. As an organization, members come together and decide on what they want as an organization, as a party, as a people who will want to work together. And if they have come out to those things, they must live up to those responsibilities. And so you see, our major problem is implementation. I remember at a point we are talking about free forms for women. Beautiful. Free forms for women. We thought, oh, political parties, they were the first to come to our party. We have free forms for women. The women ran to some of these parties. They thought they were going to get a good deal. No. All they needed was get the women to come. Of course, they were giving free forms. But when the proper politics, when they got to the point of, proper politics, what happened? They started talking about consensus. They started talking about zoning. They started talking about financial commitment to the party. And at that point, the women realized that men that bought form with minimum of 5, 10, 20 million got nominations.
Right.
And not the women who came without anything. And so I asked for us to have a legislation that says, look, a constitution, legislation and constitution that will ensure that the policy in the constitution is followed the way it should follow. And then we'll now be talking about implementation. We need a document that when you see that is violated, you can go back to the court to say, look, this section of the constitution is violated. That's what we are asking for. And implementation is actually the basic thing for me.
All right. Now, Nigerian women still suffer discrimination in both the private and public space. What would you prefer as a lasting solution to this? While the gender and equality...
Yeah. I just said now, it's legislation.
Okay.
It's legislation. It's also for the judiciary to speak up. We had a dialogue with the FCC chief judge at one point, and we wanted to, bring into their thoughts when issues come before them. And we realized that even in the Constitution, the interpretation clause didn't have anything to talk about women. In the Constitution, all you find is he. And the interpretation clause that should have guided the Constitution to say wherever you find he should be taken as he for she. Nothing of that sort in the interpretation clause of the Constitution. And so it's our imagination. As human beings, okay, the he represents us. And it doesn't represent me. It doesn't represent other women.
Okay.
So you see, our problem is for the court to come up boldly with pronouncements that will ensure that women are protected in Nigeria. I'll give you an instance. I'm from the Southeast, and I know that in most communities in the Southeast, women do not inherit their parents. But the Supreme Court took a bold decision and said, no, that is an injustice. A woman is entitled as much as a man to her father's or mother's property. So the Supreme Court, with that judgment now, nobody can disinherit a woman in any community today, no matter how tough that community is. They try it, you go back, to court to challenge your fundamental rights because it's already something that the court, already made a pronouncement on, and it's documented.
All right. For the sake of
hello? Right.
Yes, please. I was talking about time. We have to wrap it up now, but we'd like to get your final word.
Well, my final word is for women, to take a stand where we will come out supporting one another, knowing that our constituency is just us. Vote for any woman that is contesting for election. Also register as a voter, so your vote will count. On that election day, you go out and vote for women. We have to, be the ones that will change every situation that we think that is not favorable to us. We have seen that the men are not ready, and then we are not going to leave our faith in their hands. You have to take responsibility. So I call every Nigerian woman of age from 18 years and above to ensure that this INEC registration that is ongoing that each and every one of us will go out there, register, and be determined to vote and support a woman. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much, Ebere. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Barrister Ebere Ifendu, President, Women in Politics Forum. Shortly, we'll try to connect with Olabukunola Williams, member, GEOBILL Technical Working Committee. It's Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria, and Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa. And we're looking at, you can be a part of the conversation anyway. We're looking at a call for the passage of the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill. I am Kimberly Upiebo, 30 minutes to the top of the hour. Williams will be with us shortly. And to remind you again, Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa. Williams, good to have you join us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right, that's good to hear. All right, let's start things off with, I'll ask you this one first. Do you think the underrepresentation of women and delay of the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill is a deliberate act fueled on patriarchy? All right, we'll try to connect with Williams again. 07000-917-917. That's the studio line. 07000-917-917. Send a text or WhatsApp message to 0703-1756537. All right, good to have you back with us. Now, I was asking, do you think the underrepresentation of women and delay of the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill is a deliberate act fueled on patriarchy?
I think the simple answer to that is yes, right? Because when we are talking about the issues of the gender and equal opportunities bill and why it's not being passed, when we look at what are the root causes and what are the reasons for it, it's basically because often we don't believe that men and women are equal, and so therefore should not have access to power and decision-making in particular. And one of the things we've seen when the bill was thrown out was the fact that a lot of people were saying, oh, this is talking about gender equality, and we don't believe in that in Nigeria, that our religion, our traditions and culture places men above women. And that's one of the biggest issues we face, and one of the biggest challenges and barriers is really getting people to understand this bill, that actually gender equality is required for society to progress, for us to move forward. And we're also seeing it play out in the legislature as that it's made of men. There are very few women. We saw a decrease in the number of women from the previous election cycle to the current election cycle. So we're seeing less women here in this to push for this bill to be passed. So I think it's actually quite critical to just think that yes, there is stage
Fueled by patriarchy.
that reinforces, yeah.
All right, now let's talk about civil society organizations now. Do you think they can influence the implementation of policies and bills, like ensuring the passage of the Gender Equal Opportunities Bill?
Yeah, I think they are actually quite critical, because I think the role that civil society plays is in many ways, and we've seen that in the passage of the Violence Against Prohibition Act. That particular bill took about 14 years to pass, and it was because civil society, and I would say just not civil society organizations alone, right? When we're talking about civil society, we can also include various groups who also have interests.
Yeah, women interest groups, yeah.
In addition, exactly, women's rights groups and all of those who came together to say, this is an important issue for us. And I think they have been the ones who actually brought this issue to the fore. They realized the power and the importance of having legal favor and of having laws that ensures that we can address gender-based discrimination in our society, that we can create new norms and new structures that really ensure that both men and women, boys and girls, can be protected in different ways from being discriminated against, from violence and the like. And so I think civil society plays it's an important role because, one, they generate evidence and why it's important. So the lot of people, the big question is, why do we need that? It's not the most important issue. But when we can show the ways in which women are often being left behind, or the way that they're discriminated against when we talk about labor policies, for example, or the ways in which women don't have access to land, for example. But when we look at issues of leadership practices, or issues around inheritance, for example, all these really critical issues are so important and so necessary. And I think civil society has been able to bring these issues to the forefront. They've been able to showcase how women and girls are affected, and in some cases how men and boys are affected as well. So it's also been able to mobilize to come together around this issue, for us to have a common language, for us to have a common sense to this issue, to really speak out and say that this is an issue that actually really does matter to us. It's also been able to show the ways in which not addressing gender-based discrimination makes it difficult as a country for us to move ahead and to actually progress and to actually grow and to create a society where everyone can thrive. I think this issue, this work, definitely needs civil society, mobilizing civil society, organizing really to ensure that we see to the end.
All right, you're not very audible, Williams. Probably the network now. But let's go on to approaches that civil society organizations and women interest groups, like you rightly said, can adopt to ensure that the women get maximum representation in governance. Are there other approaches, in your opinion?
Yes, of course. I mean, there's definitely so many approaches, and I think one of the important ones, which a lot of organizations are doing, is around community sensitization and community mobilization. I think the truth of the matter is that no matter what we do, even though we're targeting the legislators, if we're doing media engagement, at the core of it, the only way this law is actually going to make a difference in the lives of people is if we go into communities and do this work and have conversations and have dialogue. The ways in which religion, tradition, culture, all of these things that we say are belief systems that oppose the way our society runs. Unless we're able to have these conversations at the community level to say why it's important for both men and women to be included in decision making, for women to be represented even at the community level in decision making structures, unless we're able to say it's also important for both boys and girls to be able to go to school and get an education, for both women and men to be able to own land and have access to economic empowerment, unless we're able to have these dialogues and these conversations at the community level, we're not going to see the kind of progress and the kind of change we want just by passing the law. It is a critical step, it is a very important step, but we need to do that community level work as well. And once we see that level of grassroots support and mobilization around this issue, then our legislators will not have any excuse because they're representing us and they're representing people in the community, those are their constituents. And when the constituents are demanding that they want to see this kind of law, that they want to see this bill passed, then they can't push back against that. And I think the other civil society organizations are leading those efforts in terms of having these conversations, in terms of having these dialogues, and getting the support that we need from traditional leaders, for example, who are also even pushing the envelope in their communities by changing systems and by changing the streaming in places like national arts and increasing participation of women in community food structures, for example. And we've seen traditional leaders who are abandoning anti-genital mutilations, for example, and saying that that is not allowed in their communities, or are actually even ensuring that women have access to land as well, and shifting inheritance laws. So we're seeing that happening. I think we need more of this to happen. And I think the kind of work that you're doing with media is also really critical that we do support. We do have such a powerful mobilizing space in Nigeria. And I think the more we have these conversations around breaking down what gender equality is, because I think for many people they think gender equality is black, coming to the culture. And I think often when we not explain what it is, we lot of people are like, what's wrong with the topic? That of course, I want my boys and my girls to thrive. I want them to do that. I want them to like, invest in and then all of these things. So I think these approaches are really critical.
All right, then, 20 minutes to the top of the hour. It is towards an inclusive governance on political arena. And towards an inclusive governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa. Earlier on, we had Barrister Ebere Ifendu as our guest, President's Women in Politics Forum. And right now, we have Olabukunola Williams, member, GEOBILL Technical Working Committee. Now, what do you think about engaging men on the need to pass the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill into law? And how does this bill benefit everyone?
I think it's really important for men to champion this bill. One of the things I see and I've learned in the work that I've done is that often when men are able to talk to other men about this issue, then they're able to listen better. Because, as somebody already told me, the men hear men, but they listen to men. So I think it's quite important for men to be the champion of this bill, for example, maybe to see in what ways it makes society a better place for them and a safer place for them as well. The truth of the matter is that in the kind of society we live, unless we are able to create a society in which women and girls can thrive, men and boys are not going to thrive either. It just doesn't work that way. We cannot continue to create a system in which things are skewed and things are not fair. So if we live in a more equitable society, then even men and boys will be able to benefit because they also get access to a lot more opportunities than they would have access to things with speed. And that it doesn't mean that men in rural areas can also be able to benefit because we're trying to create a more equitable society for all. I think, men being part of this conversation is definitely a no-brainer. I think it's not a situation of us begging them to come and be on our side, but it's really for them to see the benefits of creating a more just and equitable society, and for them talking to their fellow men who be willing to listen to them about why this is important or why this is critical.
All right, so how does the bill benefit everyone?
I think the biggest way in which this bill benefits everyone is that in many ways, what we were talking about, I know maybe some people are paying attention, there was a constitutional review process that was happening. And when you look at the Nigerian constitution, it is really silent on the rights of women and girls. Even if there is a clause in gender-based discrimination, a lot of the language in the constitution focus on women. And you have women who are 50% of the population, and they're not represented in the constitution, and they're not, their views, their needs, the issues are not represented there. Then we have an issue, and then we have a problem. And if you look across the world, one of the things that came out of COVID was to see that in countries that there were more gender equality, in countries that were even led by women, they were able to respond better and faster to the pandemic. So if we live in a country where we are not able to be more agile, we're not able to be more responsive, we're not able to take care of everyone, then we're going to continue to see the problems that we see currently in Nigeria. So, in having this conversation with the question, how does this bill benefit everyone? The simple answer is that it makes it a more just and equitable society. There is a law that even you as a man, if you're being discriminated against in the workplace, you want to push for more equitable more equitable access in your workplace, you can use that.
All right. Now, how about
the reason when the situation is that the reason often that women and girls are often mentioned when we talk about gender is because we've seen historical discrimination against women and girls. And we're just trying to get women and girls to even catch up in the sense of historical discrimination. It's not because we believe women and girls are more important than men and boys. We're just ensuring that there's a level playing field for them, so that when we now create that level playing field, then we can continue to build a more equitable society.
All right. Now, how about the benefits that come with having adequate representation of women in Parliament? Hello. Yes, please. How about some of the benefits, in your opinion, that comes with having adequate representation of women in parliament?
I think that the biggest, the benefit of having more women in parliament is really just being able to see that we're able to address the needs of everyone in society. Because I think, a lot of times when we talk about women, it's not just women for women too. It's not just being like, oh, we just want to be able to see women to come on these issues. So we know that in studies that have been done, when there are more women in parliament, they're actually able to address some of the critical social issues that really matter in society and that drive a more sustainable development agenda forward. That's what we need. And that's what we need to see in a country like Nigeria. So we need more women in those countries to actually be able to have a government that is responsive to all people and a government that is representative of everyone. Right? When we're talking about women, we're not really just talking about women in general, but also women with disabilities being able to be represented in parliament of the issues.
All right.
Can be at the forefront. Women who are from rural areas as well, who can bring those issues and the challenges women in rural communities to for example, or working the issue around climate change and climate crisis that's happening. How can we bring those issues to the forefront to discuss it? And unless we have adequate representation, those issues are not going to be brought to the forefront. And we're not going to be able to move that agenda forward. And we know that every part shown that. So why would we as a country not want that? Not want to be able to actually do the right thing and invest in physical areas that are really important to the development of Nigeria? We're seeing an increase in poverty, we're seeing an increase in insecurity. For example, we saw an increase in gender-based violence. If we do not have representation to be able to pass the kind of laws, and more importantly, to be able to generate the kind of investment, because our legislators are critical to saying how much money should we invest in different sectors and different areas.
All right.
If we don't have people who are willing to see that, and then who can come in and be able to say, look, this is the evidence, this is the data, this is the information, this is what my constituents are saying, and be able to push for that to invest in those critical areas, we're not going to see a change. And it's so necessary now more than ever, looking at the level of insecurity, looking at the number of school closures that are happening, looking at the levels of gender-based violence and what climate change is also wrecking in our communities. If we're not able to bring in critical voices to those places.
Yes. Okay. I want to ask you now what you, in your opinion, can be done to ensure that more women are fully involved, rather than the lip service paid to women's participation in governance. How can this be achieved? How do we ensure that women are fully involved?
Yeah, and I think people always want to shy away from this conversation. So for me, I feel like one of the critical ways in which women can be fully involved is through our feminist action. Historically, we've just seen that a lot of the spaces have been given to men. And often what we want to do is just make the space just easier and not challenge men who want to give us space or to share power. But I think one of the critical ways to do that is that they have to. And they need to let women be able to compete on a level playing field. And for now, feminist action is one of those ways. By being able to say, we don't have capable women. It's very clear that in Nigeria there are many capable women. And one of the things we saw in the last election that we saw a large number of women running more than ever. So in what ways are political parties ensuring that female candidates, not just through paper forms or things like that, but they're actually giving the support that they needed to do. And that they're not facing violence, that they're not getting messages that claim they're for people, they're sex workers, or why are they moving around at night, don't they have children to care for.
Okay, that's a way to...
But for them to actually be provided with support and treated like actual candidates who have an agenda and who have a platform to run. And I think that's one of the critical ways we can move away from saying lip service to saying that we want to see adequate representation of women. I think another really critical thing in being able to ensure that women are able to access this is also appointing women in positions about decision making. This is not only about elections, about saying we have women who are technical experts, who are knowledgeable in critical areas in the economy, to science and technology, to investment. Are we appointed women into those spaces, and are we investing them in their jobs in particular? Because one of the things that has been difficult to watch is to see how low the number of women in appointed positions are. And this is not just at the national level, but also at the state level as well. You will see about 13 to 14 commissioners, and only one is a woman. Try to see the bodies and different national technical working groups. They will appoint 10 men, maybe one is a woman. You will even see technical working groups in which they are all men, or various commissions that have been, commissions that are being created, and no woman is being appointed. And the issue is not that we don't have women who are capable. So if we really want to do it, it's about putting, it's about doing the right thing, and for our political leaders to ensure, one, they're appointing women and giving them positions to be able to make decisions and to be able to lead, and then also creating a conducive environment for them to succeed, in which they're not facing violence, in which they're not facing intimidation, they're not facing discrimination. And then the biggest thing that I would say, also working towards society in which we push for gender equality, that we're teaching it in schools, that are raising both boys and girls actually believe that they are equal. I'm not saying that one gender is higher than the other.
Speaking of equality now,
and girls can be American.
Yes. Speaking of equality now, Nigerian women still suffer discrimination in both the public and the private space. Now, what would you prefer as a lasting solution to this issue, to this challenge?
The biggest thing that I can say is the last solution is about doing the work as a community and changing people's understanding of what gender equality is. And really doing that work in our churches, in our schools, in our homes, in our public spaces, in our political offices. I mean, that's where that change needs to happen. It's so critical, it's very important. It's in our churches and in our mosques.
All right.
And we know that religious leaders have the biggest trust factor. Every barometer survey you ever listen to, people trust the religious leaders compared to political leaders, compared to religious leaders. And it's quite critical that in religious spaces we are talking about equality, that we see both women and men are created in the image of God and are equal. And one is not higher than the other. And I think once we start to preach this kind of thing, people will continue to justify, gender inequality by saying that even God, men and women are not equal. Yeah. And then they want to end the debate there. So I think in all of our religious spaces, we need to be having these conversations. I think in our schools, sometimes we look at the books that are being taught and the way they teach and what they teach us out. It's really about telling boys and girls that, they're not equal. But that, you select boys as only the class leaders, and girls cannot be the class leaders, and maybe only be the secretary for the morning. So we even see that tertiary level as well. So I think it's actually really critical in our education spaces, because this is where young kids really learn about the world, about the society, and the world that they play in there. I think it's really critical for us to ask them at whatever age that it is, able to challenge these issues and really able to get to understand that this should be equal, that this are equal. And I think those are the critical pieces, and of course, in our tradition.
We're running out of time, so.
And speaking at the community level.
Okay, we're running out of time, so let's get your final words. Just summarize your thoughts.
One of the things I really just want to, yes. Thank you again for this opportunity. And I would just say that I think it's really important for everyone to engage with the gender and equality festivities. And, this work has been happening for the past 30 years, and we've been standing on the shoulders of those who have been pushing for it because it's so critical and so important. A lot of work has gone into creating a bill that is beneficial for everyone, that addresses the needs of, pretty much every Nigerian. What issue you're looking around gender-based discrimination, of providing redress, of ensuring that we have a more just, a more equitable society, especially because the particular part of the Constitution does not make it justiciable. So this law comes into play at ensuring that there is legal redress possible, and that we're creating new norms and structures in Nigeria to be able to ensure that everyone is able to thrive in that society, especially women and girls, and not just, and basically women and girls in their diversity as well, so that we're not leaving anyone behind. There's no way, we can achieve the Nigeria that we want, or the Nigeria that we hope to see, if we don't have legal structures in place that protect every member of society.
All right.
I hope everyone does engage with the gender equal opportunity to go and push it to the passage. I know that lawmakers are on research right now, but they're going to be back before the end of the month. I think it needs to be on everyone's list so that it can be on the agenda when they come back.
All right. Olabukunola, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us on Political Arena this afternoon. Yeah, to enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa. Our guest today on the program, Barrister Ebere Ifendu, President Women in Politics Forum, and Olabukunola Williams, member GEOBILL Technical Working Committee. All right, Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria is an initiative of Nigerian Women Trust Fund and supported by Open Society Initiative of West Africa. And it's Women Radio, WFM 91.7. Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria on Political Arena is where we discuss politicking in Nigeria. And today we talked about a call for the passage of the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill. The Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill is no doubt desirable at a time like this when the rights of women are being infringed upon. The passage will promote equality and development of all persons in Nigeria, so there is need for everyone to canvass for the passage of this bill into law to enhance gender equality. Big thanks to our guests once again, Barrister Ebere Ifendu and Olabukunola Williams. Thanks to the production team led by Esther Laribe and Taiwo Adeleye. Towards an Inclusive Governance in Nigeria on Political Arena continues next Tuesday at 2 p.m. on Women Radio 91.7. I am Kimberly Ubiebo. Next on Women Radio 91.7 is the news at 3. Have a good afternoon.
WFM 91.7.